welcome to the first official episode of the Short and Spicy, which is the Smut Club Quickie version.
And y'all, you know exactly what we mean by that. We mean either a speedy sexual encounter or a high-quality minisode that is quick in terms of the Smut Club.
Yeah. I mean, it's all relative, right?
Will this necessarily be short? Absolutely not. Compared to other podcasts? Hell yeah.
I mean, it might be like an episode of a TV show.
Depending on what TV show. We'll see. But y'all, welcome. We hope you're enjoying our cutie pie new logo that we made on Katie Bird's Canva. That is definitely paid for by the school district in which you work.
Definitely my professional account, and that's totally fine. So, these little minisodes are just going to be the chatting and banter that you all know and love so much, just separated from an official episode.
Exactly. This is by request, and also because we think it's more fun. Bullshit banter is our brand.
We have Hope with us.
We did.
Yeah, you found that.
I found that on the first try.
New year, new Anna. She's finding it on the first
entirely.
try, just like we wish men would.
Yes.
That one worked too.
That's the one I was looking
We're back.
for. And we're back. Absolutely precious. We are thrilled to have a Hopi here with us to discuss all the good things. Maybe not quite as good, but the things that are going on in our world right now is it's cold.
It's very
cold as hail.
There is
cold.
Inclement weather afoot.
Mm-hmm. And only going to get more inclement, I think, as time goes on. I think it's going to be worse. At least it's sunny out today, but I don't think we have that to look forward to for the next week.
Milk and bread.
Yeah, so, I mean, y'all who live in the United States, we're in the middle of a polar vortex situation, and that does not exclude southern states.
Unfortunately.
We get to be included in that, and what a gift.
And, you know, we didn't sign up for this, but here we are. Here we are having to cope with inclement weather. Mm-hmm. And I think we'll probably make it, but in the South, for anyone who is familiar, we are unable to drive in any condition. Well,
incapable.
Full stop, actually. Mm-hmm. But especially when conditions are the tiniest bit inclement.
Correct. I mean,
we couldn't possibly.
We canceled school not once but twice this past week for wind.
It was windy.
It was very windy.
Yeah, that was tough. I mean, 50s,
40s, and windy.
50s. It was nice, but
although in fairness, having had a giant tree fall down in my front yard, I can't be super skeptical of the school being called.
Hey,
you know,
I don't complain.
So strange.
I don't complain.
You are thriving when schools are out.
It's great. I love it.
It's actually ideal.
I mean, look, I love my students with my whole heart, but get the hell away from me.
Please
get out.
Yeah, let me go home.
I can't look at you.
Yeah, I mean, so they were home from the big winds. I definitely last year, I'm sure I mentioned on the pod at some time, tree fell on our house.
Yeah.
It was such a pain in the ass. It took forever to get fixed. So then when you put in the group text that a tree fell in your front yard, thank goodness did not hit your home, but it still has disrupted your routines.
It sure has.
Yeah,
absolutely
it's awful.
not.
Yeah, it sucks. It's dumb.
That's not what we signed up for. But yes, these are really big problems here. Something amazing that happened is that Katie Bird and I got to see the new Mean Girls yesterday.
Yeah.
Mean Girls the musical.
Yeah.
The musical.
Was it so good?
It was
precious.
So Bean Dip was also with us, Brandon. Yeah. And Brandon, when we sat down, he was like, Is this a musical?
Oh, honey.
Do you know the amount of times I've told him that it's a musical?
That wasn't the first time.
The amount of times he was present in the group chat when I was saying, this is not a reboot, this is the movie version of the musical.
Yeah. Yeah.
No, that went in one ear and out the other into his Telluride.
Yes, it is a musical.
Floating around in the telly.
Floating in the telly. There's a lot floating in the telly. He's airborne most of the time.
Renee Rapp is fabulous as Regina.
Iconic.
I love her. She's fucking gorgeous and extremely talented.
Yes.
What is she Why do I know her aside from
She's
being
a
on
pop star.
Yeah, she's a pop star. She's Pretty
has
Girls is a song.
things? I don't know.
And she played
TikTok.
Regina on Broadway before.
Oh, cute. Okay.
Yeah.
I'll have to look her up. I've seen her floating around my TikTok,
Super cute.
but I
Lesbians love her.
Super
well,
sassy.
for
I mean-
good reasons.
Then yeah, I mean she is iconic. That we were talking about this afterwards, but the body inclusivity
Oh, it's
in this Mean Girls musical situation.
yeah.
How
Mean
far
Girls
we've
3.
come
Yes!
since like what was it, aughts when the original Mean Girls
2003.
came out?
Yeah, early 2000s.
A way worse time for bodies, I think.
I mean, and
2003.
Rachel
Body
McAdams,
standards.
who is incredible, and I love her so much. I mean, she was very skinny.
And she was really young. These were when and Lindsay Lohan like
who's always, she's probably, I mean, rife with eating disorders. We all were in the 2000s.
Yeah, whomst among us.
Yeah.
but it was very characteristic of that era
Yeah.
to have we were with another friend that night and we were talking about comparing it to Friends.
Yeah.
And 2003, like when was the last season of Friends? 2000.
Yeah.
2004, 2005.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's around the same era
Yeah.
of just absolute.
Well, that was heroin chic.
Yeah, it's like
Yes,
you want it to
heroin chic.
look like you've never had a meal in your life.
Yeah.
Which is so painful. And all bodies are good bodies, but like this was we all understand this, that this was a pervasive cultural value of this is how bodies are supposed to look. And they're not, no. Yeah, even for those who are built in a very slender frame, we need to have food, apparently.
But even still, like, especially, I mean, Jennifer Aniston is perfect and a goddess. And
Yeah.
But watching her and Friends, it's like,
sad.
she had huge tits and just, like, and the tiniest, like, you
Yeah.
could hide her behind a pole.
Yeah.
Literally.
I was like, it just doesn't look
That's
proportional.
what I think of Lindsay Lohan too. The only thing I can imagine is like huge tits and
Like, wafer
nothing
thin.
else.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No body.
That was I don't know how that doesn't really make sense.
Well,
it's just like a
Well, you've paid for the tits, like these,
Right,
Because there's
yeah.
no way, actually, science, like,
Right.
to be that emaciated in your
Yeah.
body, but then have enormous healthy breasts.
Yeah,
That's
I
not
think it's
how.
very interesting that heroin chic happened at the same time as the like perfectly circular '90s boobs.
Yes.
boob jobs happened. Like, how did we? What's the
There's a dichotomy.
like? Why is it a combo of those two things?
Yeah.
Yeah, these things kind of contradict
they
one
don't
another.
really make a lot of sense.
Well, and
But they were the thing.
they were the thing, but it was the most refreshing. I felt like I could take a deep breath while
Yes.
watching it because they were just healthy bodies.
And
Oh.
I was listening to the original Broadway recording and then also listening to the movie recording, and they've
fun.
done some tweaking of lyrics. Like,
Oh,
I think
good.
Regina has a line in the original musical where she's like, I am Regina George. I'm a huge deal. And she says something, and then it's like, I never weigh more than 115. And they definitely changed that. Like, she does not say that. And
Yeah.
I'm sure Renee Rapp was like,
No,
we're
that's
not.
a hard no.
Absolutely not.
Really, any
She's
number.
like, look at me.
Yeah.
Very intentional for Renee Rapp to be Regina George.
good for
That's
her.
so good. And so, yeah, beautiful body the whole time. But it was like all outfits were built around like flattering the body that was like they weren't like the girlies could move. It was
Yes.
just so it just made me so happy. She also, I liked that they did not super emphasize the story, the huge plot point. Spoilers if you haven't seen Mean Girls, but plot point.
What are you, 5?
The protein bars that help
Yeah.
gain weight. They did, like, it was definitely in there, but it wasn't like she didn't hate her body. It wasn't,
Yeah.
it was an
Yeah.
interesting, I don't know, I feel like it wasn't this huge.
I think, yeah, it's definitely distinctly different from the original where, like, there's an actual scene where they're in a store called 135 where they only sell sizes 1, 3, and 5.
I forgot.
Yes.
Oh, you're right.
And she's like, she's in a size 5 and she can't get it zipped. And the store lady is like, well, you can try Sears. Like, you're not going to fit in.
Yes.
Devastating.
I just blocked that out, I guess.
I watched
totally
it
blocked
recently
that.
and it all, like, I mean, still incredible film. Of
course.
Totally. But it's a part of its time.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah, but I mean, I will say one of my slight critiques of the movie musical is it's pretty short. They cut a bunch of stuff out.
Yeah.
But I felt like Renee Rapp was way too likable. I was like, I like Regina.
Yeah.
You're not really supposed to.
I know. And like Rachel McAdams in the original did such a good job of like, she seemed really sweet, but you could tell there was something sinister about her. But I didn't really feel that with Renee because she's charming. And I guess because I've seen her on TikTok and I know what her personality is like. She just is very charming.
So great, ma'am. Like, how dare you?
I was like, you look great. And she like was wearing the same, like she had Docs on. I was wearing Docs. I was like, I'm wearing the same shoes as Regina George.
You know what? That was fun. You know what a big point of it too is though, that she wasn't like, I bet if we watched Mean Girls original today, we would see one of the reasons why she was so dislikable was because of all the body talk. That was one of the big things of like, oh, good bodies like this way.
Pounds. Yeah,
like that was a huge plot point, and that's really repelling. Like we don't like. That's painful, and so that was a big plot point before.
That's a good point.
And she was just mean.
And they definitely did a lot of like cutting back of the whole like calling people sluts and whores, which super intentional. Because Lindsay Lohan has that very iconic in the scene at the party where Regina kisses Aaron. She goes, she's such a good slut.
That's right.
So all of that is gone, which is fine. I appreciate. I mean, we don't need to be calling people sluts and whores. I mean, in a colloquial, friend way, sure, whatever. But I mean, we're not out here slut shaming girls anymore.
So they kind of they tidied up the ways that girls are still being mean. Girls are still being mean in these ways, but we're not glorifying it in a film.
Yeah, it's very interesting to like how do you still recreate a mean girl dynamic without playing into the toxic things that we're like, no.
Oh, it turns out we can still be mean without that stuff.
We can still be mean and also I don't know, I was gonna say like still be good people. You know, like we can still have values and be mean. Like those two
it's an interesting...
you're allowed to be mean actually.
Yeah. Ooh. So the last number, we're just getting the whole movie away for you. But
that's okay.
The last
You've done seen Mean Girls before.
Oh, please.
It's the same
I listened to that one in the car on the way home because
We're All Stars, that one?
Yes. So that one was talking about that song. And is that from the original musical? Okay. It's so good. But she was saying things along the lines of like, guys can just duke it out. They can just fight.
I'd rather be me. That's Janice's song.
So it's like, good.
Yeah, boys get to fight, girls have to share. That's not fair.
Ooh. So it's talking about how like we can be clear and direct, like, and not be mean.
Yeah.
Like we can be open and honest and not be cruel. Was my kind of takeaway from that song. I'm not familiar with the musical version, and so I loved that. I was like, let's have like healthy communication without being shitty.
Yeah. Well, she's like, if you're bad, I'm gonna say that you're bad.
Yes. If you don't like me, then we don't have to be friends.
We don't have to talk to each other, actually.
This reminds me, I think that, you know, when you have friends, sometimes you gossip about them to your other friends, you know, and there are some like ethical and moral gray areas there about like, when is it okay and healthy to like vent about your friends versus like, am I just talking shit? And I saw this TikTok the other day that was like, if your behavior makes you look bad and then I talk about it, I'm not the problem. Like I'm just
okay.
You know, this is what I saw, but if like your own shit makes you look bad, like I'm not being problematic by talking about it.
Yeah.
If you did something that was not okay.
If you hurt me.
It's actually important that there are other safe spaces for another girlfriend to say, hey, this friend did or said this, and is this okay? This hurt. And then for kind of, I mean, we have all kind of done this for each other, of like, hey, that
actually is not okay.
And then to kind of defend your friend and to say like, no, this is, when somebody is doing something weird.
Yeah, but we don't have good models of that, certainly, because then we're back to catty mean girls of like, we don't know how to talk to each other or like resolve conflicts.
Well, it's just such a...
Well, I mean, we're taught from a very young age that girls are mean.
Yeah, girls are really mean. To fear one another and to be I don't know what's the phrase, but if you can't beat them, join them. Like learn how to be mean back.
Yeah, and that's the whole thing about the plastics. Like, if you can't beat them, join them, and then you turn into shiny hard plastic.
That's the moral of that story. Yeah. But it's but we've all got crowns. You know, we're thinking of Taylor and Beyonce.
Yes.
At everything in the past year, and it's they're trying to work against the stereotype.
I know. It's so, very intentional for Taylor and Beyonce, because the conversation for so long has been like Taylor versus Beyonce, and like,
but from day one, Beyonce, it was like, no, this is not a fucking competition.
From day one, after Kanye like humiliated Taylor in front of all those people, Beyonce was like, hey Taylor, why don't you come do your acceptance speech now, like from the beginning. And then
absolutely,
but it's everyone else's narrative where it's like, Taylor doesn't have half the talent of Beyonce. It's like,
there's only room for one
strong woman. There can be one woman in charge.
Why does
one woman to rule them all? That's all we got. Right?
Yeah, we only can have one.
It's so. And I, growing up, you know, in my context, like I don't know, that was very much the idea, but I grew up around guys primarily, and so it has much of my young adulthood and adult life has been being gobsmacked when women have been competitive and mean and backbitey, and, you know, slept with my boyfriend, you know, like that kind of behavior, like that has just absolutely blown my mind, and I've had to learn it in adulthood, and it's scary and sad. Yeah, we don't got to be that way.
Yeah, and it's hard. I mean, it's hard to be a woman, yes. But like when your allies, like your female friends, are the ones who are treating you like shit, where it's like, well, I guess men can too. I mean, I don't know.
Who can you trust?
Yeah. I mean, I guess this is just how I'm supposed to be treated.
This is very binary, but it's isolating.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it's extra hurtful to like I don't think there's like a femme-identified person in the world who hasn't felt negatively impacted by those kinds of like gender roles and stereotypes. And so when someone who's ostensibly like in the same group as you, like in group aggression feels way more hurtful sometimes, because it's like we expect for there to be this like fucked up toxic masculinity stuff, but then
I can predict that men will treat me badly, but like when my friends do it, it's like, oh
because they've been treated badly too, and then it's like, okay, so this is a different level of knowledge,
betrayal
here that we're
it feels painful on a different. And so Mean Girls original and the musical, like that is the whole premise of it, is like let's be friends. Like, I don't know, like this is what happens when you're mean. Could we all just be kind and have good boundaries and whatnot, and be clear communicators? That's kind of the, I don't know, I don't feel like it's like a sappy moral, but that's,
I mean, I think it's a moral that will stand true for a long time, just because that the way that our patriarchal society is structured is that women will always be pitted against each other, and until like that structure changes, we're still going to have to fight that. We're going to have to be the ones where it's like, no, we are not in competition with each other. We're here to support. And that's something that we just have to, I mean, we're swimming upstream at all times.
You can't lead me down that road.
Yeah.
Because you don't know what you don't know.
Yeah.
Woo. Yeah. Yeah. It's a fascinating.
How many shots can we take in one minisode?
Yeah. This is an interesting, I don't know. I think I enjoyed Mean Girls last night. I was inspired. I feel hopeful often about Gen Z.
I do too.
And about, especially when you tell stories about your high schoolers.
Yeah,
and
they're sweet.
I'm like, no, I think we're headed in the right direction in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
Politically.
Yeah, and I think especially with all this new like Gen Z media, like new television shows, new movies, I feel like it's more the common practice now to have like body diversity and ethnic diversity and just diversity across the board.
Oh my God.
Well, it just is so loud when you don't anymore. Like,
It's
we
like,
just like, this just doesn't reflect
we know where exactly
any
where you
reality.
stand.
Yeah. You kind of have to.
That is some signaling.
It's become a very intentional choice to not have any diversity.
Absolutely.
Like you have to work hard now. I wonder if there's I mean, I'm not in,
like
that
entertainment.
business. Yeah, but I wonder if there are like new regulations around.
I doubt it.
Can they
But who knows?
regulate
I mean, they
that?
can still be
No
casting
idea.
white men in all the roles.
They sure do. They sure do.
I have seen Ben Affleck's
Interesting.
face so many times.
Ben Affleck.
God bless him. I do really identify spiritually with those like pictures of Ben Affleck where he's got like black eyeliner and he's
think about it.
dropping a
Dropping
Dunkin'
hundreds
cup.
of coffees.
I'm- It's
I think about it all the
A
time.
girl just like us, really.
the one
he is a girl just
He is a girly just like us. I've been seeing headlines of him looking pissed and angry, or just not enthused with J-Lo, and she's having to like make statements of, I promise he's fine.
This
fine.
is just what his face looks like.
Yeah, sometimes your face be looking like that.
People have resting bitch faces.
Like if someone took a photo of me at any given time, I'm not looking cute. Like
no,
you got a lens from 100 miles away. I'm not looking cute in that photo.
never.
I'm definitely not smiling.
Unfortunately, I often am, but I have a resting nice face.
This makes me think of Golden Globes Gate. And, reacting versus overreacting versus, I'm sorry, not reacting at all.
Just
Like,
sitting there.
Just sitting there. Just
So
like,
my favorite.
taking a little regulatory sip. Like, that's
It's like
She just
how dare,
and then
first
took
of
a
all.
fucking sip.
Oh, my
Yeah.
God.
yeah. My favorite commentary is like Will Smith stood up, went on stage, and slapped someone across the face, and Taylor Swift took a sip of her drink, and she's the one who overreacted.
Yeah, that was it's such a great comparison.
Oh my God.
The Golden Globes
Wasn't that just last year?
That was-
like,
yeah.
was that not literally
was-
the Golden Globes of last year?
Golden Globes are always a fucking shit
A
show.
nightmare, it
Why are
turns
they
out.
so dramatic?
It's like the Oscars, like weird stepbrother.
It's like the rowdy family.
It's like the Soapies. I just watched the episode
Yes.
of Friends where they did the Soapies with Joey, and it was like the third most prestigious soap opera award.
Yeah, the Golden, that was discouraging. First of all, who the fuck is Joe Coy?
Jesus
I have
Christ.
never heard of that man
Oh
in
my
life.
God.
Like, sorry, you couldn't get Jimmy Kimmel, another white comedian, to do it? Like, what's happening?
I'm sure it is a hard job, a tough crowd. I'm sure, but it being a tough crowd is no excuse.
No, you can make a joke about Taylor Swift. That's actually funny.
Did y'all see?
Yeah.
I saw clips going around of Trevor Noah the year before.
Yes,
at
Trevor Noah,
something
an incredible
else.
host.
Who was like not. Just don't be a dick, man. Like you just don't have to be a dick.
Yeah.
and
Just
the
be
fact that
boring.
he
I don't
was
know.
So like
He got so
he
aggro
got
about
so,
it.
like flustered. Like
I didn't write these jokes. Okay,
please.
but you said it.
Yeah.
And then
Worse,
he's like,
that's worse, my guy.
We
Like,
only
what do
had
you
10
mean?
days or whatever to write it. I'm like, 10 days is a long time.
10 days.
You know how many
Yeah.
grad school papers I can write in 10 days?
Oh my God! Also, isn't this your job, my
Yeah.
guy? Like, what else
What
are
are we
you
doing?
doing?
Do you have access to like what is it, ghostwriters? Like people
Yeah,
who
punch
can
up writers. Yeah,
course.
run it past one person.
Yeah, Jesus Christ.
A woman.
So-
Run it past a woman.
actually
Not a single woman. I'm sorry.
God.
There was not a single
Not a
woman in that
single
writer's room.
woman.
of
Not a
course
single
not.
woman.
And this is the section of the show where I recommend Marvelous Mrs. Maisel.
Yeah,
I've been watching it. I started it.
Stop it. Okay, we've got to talk because
I like it. My inner teen demanded
okay.
that I restart Gossip Girl instead.
As you
Okay.
should. Same. I have done that in the past 3
These
months.
are things I have not. My partner was like, "Oh, I see where we are."
yes, we're
Gossip Girl pilot. Oh,
Yeah.
we just need to watch
Things
Blake
have
Lively.
gotten to a dark
Teen
place.
Blake Lively. Yeah, no, that is deeply relatable. And on Marvelous Mrs. Maisel, she is the only woman in a writer's room for much of the show. Sorry, that's so many spoilers, but like later in the seasons at the end, and they speak to this frequently, and it's interesting how it seems as if the same dynamics are happening.
Interesting. As if life
in the
imitates
2020s. This was in the 50s and 60s, so it was interesting.
wow.
Yeah, it's a Amy Sherman Palladino, a feminist.
I get angry every time that I see it's like created by Amy Sherman Palladino, but this episode was written and directed by her husband Daniel, and I'm like, boo. No,
Why do we gotta include him?
Why for what?
It's not about him.
Por qué?
For what?
Yeah. Well, this is
Welcome
none
to
of this is spicy.
Welcome to Feminist Rants with Katie Openhand.
It's like spicy in
Spicy
an
in a-
irritated way, but not spicy.
Hey,
in a
you'll know it.
That's a form of spice.
Sure.
Just not the sexual sex in terms of like sexual identity. Yeah. Not sexual intercourse.
nope.
No, for sure not. Well, Katie Bird, she has scoured the depths of the internet.
And let me tell you, it's dark out there.
Really? Were these Reddit threads?
So I was scrolling to Reddit, which is a horrible hellhole you should never go into.
I have an account. I just try to not be there.
And so I'm inspired by many different people who do this, who like on TikTok or on other podcasts where they just like read Reddit stories. But the difference between them and me is that they have people who do that for them, and then they have the pre-approved ones ready to go.
They dig through the depths.
I had to
for them.
do the digging myself because I don't have an assistant.
No, you don't. A is out of town. Really, that's
No, he would have found the weirdest shit to give me. Tell a story about the lizard. I'm like,
no, we're good. We're good, honey.
So I found this one. It's also not that sexy, but it is about a badass girl, which is on theme, I think.
All right. This is feminist rant version. Short and spicy, quickie feminist
rants.
Okay. This is our house. We make the rules.
The title of this story is Guy Tips Big to Impress Date, but returns afterward to take the money back.
Stop it right now.
Yeah.
No.
Also, there's like a little tag under the title that says long.
Not TLDR. This is long.
Just be prepared.
Yeah. Okay. So this is written by a server at a restaurant.
Ooh.
We had a guy come in last night with his date. Throughout the evening, he was the picture of courtesy and good manners. He complimented me, thanked me every time I came to refresh waters or check on the table, made a point to be forgiving of a kitchen mistake, super extra nice. The dream customer, really. I appreciated it, but didn't delude myself that I was the source and figured out he was just in a good mood because the date was going well. They were chatting, laughing, having a great time, so I assumed I was an indirect beneficiary.
Sure.
He was certainly in some kind of celebratory mood because he was sparing no expense. He asked for her highest quality wine, she got her most expensive entree, and he ordered one of every appetizer for her to sample when she made a remark that she is having trouble deciding.
My God. Yeah, this is a baller power move.
Yes. It was a real feast. I mean, it sounds amazing. I would love to benefit from that.
Sounds great. Yeah.
Sounds great so far. I'm in.
So the evening starts wrapping up and I get their check. I ask if they'll be together or separate. She starts to say separate, but then he makes a big deal of saying, "Oh, are you kidding? Together. Definitely together. You never have to pay when you're with me, babe." That it gives me the ick. I don't like that.
Wait, that gives you the ick?
I think saying that, like, you never have to pay when you're with me,
Yeah,
babe.
gross.
I don't like that.
Like,
just put your card down.
Yeah, fine. But don't make some big,
like, it's way
show
hotter to
about
me
it.
for you to just take it and put your card down. Don't make a whole show about it.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, it's way more. I agree.
It just seems fake.
I enjoy the experience of like being cared for.
Sure.
Yeah,
it's
no,
nice.
definitely pay for me, but I don't like the showiness.
Oh yeah, the paying for is not the problem.
Yeah, no, I
it's
definitely
the
pay for my
demonstration
stuff.
It's
Absolutely.
the douchebaggery.
Yeah.
I get everything sorted and bring out the receipt. He fills it out, and it came to $289 total.
Depending on.
I mean, all right. You can spend that much on a nice fancy steak dinner.
Drinking
But then
with
the
it.
tip.
If you got a whole bottle of wine,
Yeah,
for sure.
you had a cocktail.
You had a filet.
No, this is like a
Like a Morton's Steakhouse.
sure.
Yeah.
This is we get it. We get the vibe.
Yeah, well, we ate there when we were in Atlanta. Me, Ashley, and Savannah, and it came out to be about that much.
Yeah.
God, yeah, sure.
Okay, he doesn't even blink and makes a big show of leaving a $100 tip. He thanks me for my service and emphasizes what a lovely night they've had. Of course, a tip that size is exceptional, so I thanked him profusely. He said there was no need to thank him, and he goes on a big tear about how underappreciated waitstaff are, and to just think of it as a stand-in for all the ingrates who didn't treat me right, going, don't plan to tip, don't plan to eat out,
Whoa,
We do know.
like he made a real show of this, a real demonstration.
Yes. I mean, he's going for an Oscar, seems like.
Yeah, he's working.
Truly.
He's working.
He's making a point.
Yeah.
Looking at the mesmerized girl the whole time and not giving me a glance. Okay. I could care less where he was looking. I was looking at the upcoming $100. I thanked him again and said I hope to see them back soon, and that was that. He helps her into her coat and off they go. Great night. I was riding high. About 90 seconds later, he's back in the door without her, going, I think I left my... And then when the door shut, looking back to make sure she was out of earshot, he goes, without the slightest shade or shame of or embarrassment, mark the tip down to $20, hun.
$20?
Hun. Oh, sir.
I was just playing it up for my date. You understand. And turns to go.
What?
Oh, no.
Oh, I'm infuriated.
Yeah.
Oh, no.
I understood, but not how he hoped I would. But I couldn't.
I understood.
I understand.
I understood a lot, sir.
But when I couldn't make a scene in the middle of work. That's not my place. So I just said one more time in order to give his conscience a chance to sink in. Okay, sir, you'd like me to amend your tip from $100 to $20. Is that correct? And even though I didn't
say that loud, say that for all others to hear in the restaurant. So just to be clear, you're trying to remove $80 from my pocket.
Yes.
Jesus.
The transaction is over.
We charged your card, my dude.
It's done. I'm sorry, actually, my system won't allow me to do that.
Yeah. Place to begin Mr. Prices.
Weird.
And even though I didn't show a hint of displeasure in my voice, he shot back extremely hostile. Yes, and if I see a cent over the 20 on there, I'm going to dispute the whole meal with my credit vendor, so don't try to pull anything.
Sir.
This guy's an asshole.
Sir.
Truly an asshole.
Yeah.
Does she have an ethical responsibility to go chase that girl down and be like, babe?
Yeah, that's an ethical responsibility at that point.
This
Gotta
story...
Say something.
Red
we got to
flags.
let the people know.
This story is still going.
That TikTok guy with the red flag.
We have a journey to go on.
Oh, no.
It gets worse.
I mean, the server is amazing. She's
a quality girlie.
Too excited.
The most frustrating part of this for me was not even going from an over 30% tip to under 10%, but rather that his poor girl was being strung along with no idea who the guy was behind her back. It was extremely manipulative of him.
That's the feminine
which
rage.
is a major red flag. I've had my fair share of toxic relationships in the past and really wish someone had pulled the blinders off my eyes. So desperately wanted to do something to alert this girl to trick the guy to the trick the guy had pulled, hoping it would be a catalyst to her questioning his other actions. But again,
fucked with the wrong server.
That's right. You're right. Play stupid games.
Ew.
But again, I was at work and that just wasn't my place, so I altered the bill and that was that. Then, just in time, something occurred to me, and I darted outside, hoping to catch them in the parking lot. I got lucky.
Yes!
Yes!
They'd parked on the street instead, and he was dealing with the parking meter. So I flagged him down and rushed across the street, nearly stumbling into traffic in my haste for a delicious moment.
Yes. The drama.
Risk your life for the girl. His date was already in the car, but rolled down her window since no one expects the waitress to follow you out to your car, waving her arms like a crazy person.
Sure.
I made it across and said more than loudly enough for her to hear, "Sir, we amended your tip from $100 down to $20 as you requested, but you will need to fill out a different receipt reflecting your new total for our records."
Smart.
Yes.
Your old receipt has the original tip of $100 written on it.
God.
But since you came in and asked it to change it to $20 instead,
we've got to change that.
We can't have the discrepancy in our records. I hope you understand this is just a bookkeeping regulation that goes way above me.
Yes.
It has nothing to do with your retroactively downgrading your tip from $20 to $100.
Yes.
You know that time when you retroactively
Oh my
downgraded
God.
your tip.
Drag him.
Yeah.
We're just really glad you enjoyed your evening.
She stirred the pot. She started some.
She
rescued
surely
that girl.
did.
Oh, yes, she did.
That's some abusive, weird, emotional.
It's bad.
That's love bombing.
That's
and
the
then,
most manipulative.
That's
Ew.
scary.
I don't like it.
Oof.
She need.
It's so disrespectful.
Is the story still going?
There's still more.
Yes.
His job was...
I
Listen
love
to a
this.
story.
His jaw was on the floor. He tried to pretend as though he didn't know what I was talking about, trying to give me some line about, I think you're after someone else. I'd only come back because I forgot my keys, but I would not let it rest. The more he played dumb, the more I repeated versions of, you wanted to change your tip from $100 to $20. And
How did he come back from that? Like, what do you say in the car?
Sir, you came back in because you wanted to change your tip from $100 down to $20. So we went back and forth for a few more seconds when he finally went, okay, whatever. Sorry for the miscommunication. If you need me to fill out a new receipt, I can. And I totally even killed was like, you'll only need to fill out a new receipt if you want to change your tip from $100 down to $20.
It would be fine. If you don't want to fill it out again, I'll just leave it at that original tip. No problem.
If this was a
No
mistake,
problem at
I'm
all.
so
No
sorry.
problem.
We're good.
Yeah.
That was my bad.
And I'm guessing he didn't have... I'm guessing he didn't have the money in his account because he did it. He filled out the new receipt.
Wow.
His girlfriend was visibly shocked, and the man was staring daggers through me.
Yes.
You could feel the rage emanating off him.
Yes.
It was vicariously quite satisfying in place of the other toxic men I never did get that confrontation with, and all the bad tippers. Ironically, the exact kind he made a righteous speech decrying just a few minutes beforehand.
We call that a narcissistic wounding.
And then
That's right in his ego.
Yeah. Off they drove, I'm sure never to patronize our restaurant again, but hopefully never to go out together again either, which would make this totally worth it.
Oh,
Yes.
round of a.
That's right.
No. There.
Yeah.
We did it. Round of applause,
Yeah.
truly, for this.
Amazing.
For this girlie.
A bad bitch.
Doing the Lord's
Wow.
work.
Yeah.
Also, number one, a corrective emotional experience for her.
100%.
Absolutely.
And number two, I realized as I was sitting here, like, yes, like, I would be terrified. Like, to actually confront a man in that way.
What?
Scary.
Typical.
Or like
No.
when she's talking about him like staring daggers at her, my first thought is like, yeah, you bitch. Like, sure, yeah, like in his face. But also I know about my body and my sweet little nervous system.
It would feel scary.
That would feel really scary
I
because
think-
men are wild cards and they're unpredictable. And I'm glad that she's safe in addition to being a confrontational baddie.
I think having the girlfriend there, because he's still
That's the
trying.
only way that could have worked.
He's trying to save
That's a
face
good
with her,
point.
so I don't think. I mean,
It wasn't
I still
gonna
would have been scared to
escalate.
do it, but I
Yeah.
don't think he would have escalated it.
Right.
'Cause-
Also, the way I'm envisioning it, this is not. They did not park around the block in a dark alley. If this
It's
was,
a busy
It's the middle of the street.
yeah. If this
Okay,
was
good
a
points.
way, but no, I did at first envision it like way far isolated. But like that would be really that. Yeah, all of our spidey senses go off and say. I mean, like the confrontation in the first place is scary, but like. Knowing that he's erratic and like all the red flags go off, so he could do anything. Yeah, I feel like the safety of it being in the restaurant would be one thing, but the additional like hey, like the signaling of doing it out in the wild.
I mean,
incredible.
She was like, I've got to protect that girl.
That was really she did her a solid.
Yeah.
Because that's not just like a casual like. This guy gave me the creeps a little bit. Girlie, I hope you're okay.
Yeah, this was like, he's lying to you.
Yeah, no, he's
Like, what else could he be lying about?
dramatically lying.
Jesus.
Wow.
And just the
I know.
just the showiness of it all.
I hated that.
The performance of it.
He's a finance bro. Like,
Ew.
like that's all I can picture.
Insurance is another one where like it's this energy of just like it's so self-serving and it's so like it's the finance bros who are just like their ethics and morals get a little tangled up in there, but the girlies let me tell you, girlies, but you can't know if that's what he's showing you.
Oh yeah, how would she know unless
All
someone
we
told
can
her?
know- yeah, all we can know is
It's like, wow, my boyfriend forgets his keys a lot. He's got to go back in restaurants all the time.
yeah,
What a forgetful man. He's so
Ew.
silly.
I mean, I can just imagine. This was a first date.
Yeah.
Like,
Wow,
just the
yeah.
stories that you're telling yourself anyway.
It's like,
Sure.
he treats
Give
me
him a
so
chance.
well. He
Give
ordered
him- yeah.
every appetizer because
He's
I
been-
couldn't decide.
He's been really responsive.
Yeah.
And like to normalize to girlies this kind of abuse and manipulation, it works. It works
it
because
for sure works.
because you're only on the receiving end of that side of the story of the glittering amazing guy at the table. That's all you can see. The server had the bird's eye view, kind of
Right.
like, you know, all of us we are seeing it from the third party who are like, oh my god.
Oh no.
Yeah.
That's bad.
And then for the girlies who look back over their lives and abusive relationships and they think like, oh, this was really shitty. Of course, honey, you are now the third party.
Yes.
You're
Now you
looking
can-
back over it.
Yeah.
So of course you can see it clearly.
Hindsight's 20/20, baby.
So
Like,
to normalize, yes, but we use that wisdom. We say, oh, remember that time when this guy was inconsistent and strange. These are the red flags. I can trust my gut. Yes. I now
I have
know more.
learned.
And now I can alert the other girlies in the wild.
yes. We're T-Rex signaling each other.
Wow.
Just pterodactyling out at the TJ Maxx.
Yes.
Girl.
Uh-oh. Run!
This is weird. He's doing two different people. Yeah, that's a wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would like to know how he bounced back from that.
I hope he didn't.
I hope he didn't.
I hope he's still single, actually. Or he went to therapy.
Ooh.
Yeah, maybe that was a real turning point for him to like reflect.
Look inside.
And, turn inward for a
I'm not feeling
moment.
confident that he
No,
did.
oh my God.
A man?
That
In therapy?
reminds me of Nick Saban, of when your comment about Nick Saban. I mean, if people haven't figured out we're not in Alabama by now, then...
Oh, well, they know we hate it.
Yeah, we're not in Alabama.
Actively hated Alabama.
Sure. We
Whoops.
love our listeners in Alabama.
Sure.
Thoughts and prayers to y'all, but we are
It's
not.
hot there.
Yeah, it's stuff that's going on down there. But yeah, you said you shared something about. Was this about Nick Saban? What was this? You were like,
Oh, no, I said...
men will literally quit their SEC team rather than.
Oh, no, I said men will literally rip goalposts out of the ground and throw them in the river instead of going to therapy.
Rather than going to therapy. Yeah. men will do literally anything. Yeah, no.
Love that for us.
Yeah.
Be better, men. There are some good ones.
Yeah, there are. Well, that was a beautiful episode of The Short and Spicy at 45 minutes long.
Oh, we've done it.
We've done it.
I could have kept. That's the magic. Is I've got more in me. I've got more to say.
We've got more to say.
More things to say.
Which you can hear on our episode of whatever's next week.
Also, if y'all ever hear a story on The Short and Spicy, whether Reddit, whether I have a Facebook group actually that I'm going to glean some goodness from, that I'm going to tell you about. It's our town's girls in their 20s.
Are we dating the same guy?
Oh, that's a good one too.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay, this is going to be fun. We're going to have some great stories. But yes, if y'all ever hear these stories and you're like, wait, I can top that. Tell us.
smutisbetterwithfriends@gmail.com.
We will hide your identity to whatever extent you would like.
Just tell us, and
we would absolutely love to share.
if you have ever protected a girlie from a horrible man, please tell us. Or if you have wreaked havoc revenge on a horrible man, I want to hear that too.
Revenge party from Mean Girls.
It's a revenge party.
There'll be cake.
Yes, and someone's head will end up on a steak.
And exactly. Like, so that's the theme of this week's Short and Spicy.
The theme reveals itself to us. We said we had a plan, but in fact, the Lord had a plan for us.
The Lord has led us all the way through this one. It is unfolded before us here on the Lord's Day. Yes, y'all send us your goodness, and we would love nothing more than to read it on
Or if
the
you just
pod.
want to send us emails and hi, just to say hi, that's fine too.
We love that as well.
We love you. All right, thank you so much for listening. Until next time, I hope you ruin a guy's life by saying you wanted to drop his tip from $100 down to $3.
Ruin his life, ruin his date. Bye.
Bye.